I was watching House of the Dragon the other day. I looked at how each episode ended. I noticed something. It's similar with how a lot of TV show episodes do end. They end at a point that is close to a major event, like maybe a war, a discovery, or something of the sort. If they don't end like that, they end at the beginning of another major event. So it's either they end towards a major event or they end towards the beginning of another major event. Let's say one major discovery is made. That's for the second type of ending. One major discovery is made. Now we need to keep watching to see how the discovery develops, to see what it causes, to see how it affects the plot, to see how it affects the characters, to see how it affects the whole series universe. Like the first thing I said, towards a major event, we're already coming. Towards the conclusion of a major event, we're already coming down to the conclusion. This character has done this character has done that. We see that it is leading towards maybe a war or leading towards the defeat of the villain. Then suddenly they switch up on us. The episode ends and we are forced to wait a whole week or however long it is to see how the whole showdown goes. So I thought of it and I raising that there's this issue that some creators tend to face, especially in business. Yeah, sometimes you just feel like, okay, I need to make a video, but then you feel this idea is not something I can squeeze down into one video. So you decide to make multiple videos. You decide to make part one, you decide to make part two, you decide to make part three. Part one works impressive. Maybe it goes viral or it performs just as well as you thought it would. And you feel, okay, yes, people are interested in this thing I'm talking about. Then you go ahead and you make part two and you make part three. But then part two and part three flop. They don't perform as well. You would think maybe it's just time. Give it a week, give it two. Then you do give it a week, you give it 2 weeks, it still does not perform as well as you thought it would. And you wonder what could be the problem. Part one is just as important as part two and part three are. And part one speaks around the same idea that part two and part three are. So why isn't it performing as well? So I came to this conclusion after looking at the way TV shows end their episodes. And I noticed something. I noticed they are using something they call cliffhangers. At this point, I believe you've heard the term one or twice or maybe a bunch of times, especially if you are someone that watches movies or series or TV shows in general. You would have heard of the term cliffhangers. What are cliffhangers? They are abrupt stop in the flow of the story. A stop before the proper stop. Like when you are driving your car and suddenly you have to hit the brake, you have to hit sudden brake and you get jerked forward. Something like that. You have not gotten to your destination, but something caused you to stop in the middle there. So it is when script writers and the movie directors decide, okay, they need to create an abrupt stop per episode to ensure that people come back because the whole series has not ended, the old movie has not ended. To ensure you stick from the beginning to the end. Why are cliffhangers important? Cliffhangers are important because as persons we have a short attention span, especially when you are talking about shorts or all this YouTube shorts, Instagram reels and stuff. Our attention span has become so short that our attention for a specifically long time. But in the case of a movie or TV show episode is extremely long. The list these days is like 40 minutes. Now imagine tying someone down for more than 40 minutes. They won't just stay seated that long because there's life problems they have to go and attend to. So on average, that's the time they can give at once for something. So that's one use of cliffhangers. You ensure that the viewer is able to watch at their own convenience. Another reason is keeping someone in the same position for a long time and expecting them to pay attention to just one single thing will result in boredom. But in the case of movies, it is understandable. 40 minutes, it's a movie, it's a TV show episode, it is understandable. But when you come down to YouTube videos, you want to keep someone seated for 40 minutes just watching, maybe it's brain rot. But in this case, I'm not focusing on brain rot. So I'm talking about a business video. They probably have better things to do. They wouldn't stay seated that long. The things start becoming boring. So they make sure you don't lose interest or get bored, which is another reason why cliffhangers are important. Now, how do we apply this to your YouTube video that you made part one, part two, and part three? Part one performed well, part two did not perform well, part three did not perform well. First thing we have to do is go back to part one and look at what exactly made it perform well. You have to reanalyze it. I am not a packaging expert, so I won't touch on the thumbnails and title. I'll just talk on your script. Sometimes people just believe this idea is very good, especially people that have experience with their personal clients and they want to spread the gospel about the service they are selling or the job that their product does. You might have used the product for 1,000 different clients and they all loved it. They loved the results produced. They loved everything about it. But then, how did you frame the effectiveness of your product? How did you frame this information to the viewer? You have to look at it that way. I said cliffhangers are usually found at the end of episodes in TV shows, in movies, but it does not work that way in YouTube videos. Your whole video, if you know you are going to make parts, even if you're not going to make parts, your whole video must serve as a cliffhanger cliffhanger. How do I mean? Like I was talking about framing. You have to frame your video so well that at the end, when the viewer watches it, they feel, wow, this has been really helpful. This was really good. They have to get that impression that what you produced was really good. And now they will start asking themselves, will his next video be just as good? Will the next one after that be just as good? So unlike movies and TV show episodes where cliffhangers are only exist at the end of a movie or an episode, your whole video must serve as a cliffhanger, all from the point of the hook of your video down to the final CTA. Your viewer must watch it and feel fulfilled. You promised a particular thing in your video, you must effectively deliver on it. So when they watch it and they feel, okay, this shit has been useful, then they get the impression that the next one will be useful and the next one will be useful. One thing most people fail to do when they are dealing with videos that have to do with part 1, part 2, and part 3 is their choice of idea was spot on. It was dope as fuck. That is why they got the initial crazy performance on part 1. But then the way they framed it, when the viewer was scrolling, as they saw what part 1 was talking about, they were like, fuck, I need this shit in my life. It is important to me. I need to get this thing done. Then they click yes, your thumbnail, and try to convince them that yeah, exactly, it is what they need. But then they click. The perception your script gives, the way your script frames, the way your script delivers, it does not feel solid enough. So they become disappointed. And as soon as you get them disappointed, they will see no need to come back. You did not deliver effectively on what you promised. Yes, sometimes some people will deliver properly, but then the way they deliver it, it does not just hit home for the viewer. Sometimes as a scriptwriter, I'll sit down and analyze a creator's video and I'm like, wow, what is this? For some people, you'd have to watch up to the last minute to know what they're talking about. And it's not like they are not talking about what they are supposed to be talking about, but the way they just present it, the way they carry it, the way they communicate it, it's just so boring. You feel like pulling a gun and shooting your own brains out. Like, the fuck is this person doing? And for some other people, they will just rant and never touch the point of what they are supposed to be talking about. So that's two of the most common mistakes creators make when it comes to not utilizing cliffhangers. Think of it this way: in movies and TV shows, cliffhangers are found at the end, but in YouTube, your whole video must serve as a cliffhanger for your channel. Any single video you make must be so good that the viewer feels inclined to come back to check the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one. So that's all on cliffhangers and YouTube scripts for B2B businesses. You can also put this to use if you're not a B2B business owner. It also works in IRL videos, gaming videos, documentary, history, any other thing you can think about. Make a particular video you are on so valuable or so entertaining that the viewer feels the next videos will do exactly the same.